What is up, guys? Stark here. I am back for another video, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a character spotlight for Tamamo no Mai. So I've already done a character spotlight for her in the past, but I'm starting to do like spotlights, kind of like the revival events where I redo an old character spotlight into a new one, and I'm going to try and do this pretty much a lot more going forward in the new year. So when some of the older characters come back for like a featured banner or something like that, I'm going to try my best to get these character spotlights updated for like the new format that I do now, because a lot of the older character spotlights I really didn't like too much, and I was just kind of getting into the groove of it, and now I kind of have a little bit of a better format and just gonna keep trying to update these characters as much as possible. And the game constantly changes, so 2 years ago Tamamo might have been a little bit differently than she is now. And that's not necessarily the case for Tamamo exact. Well, no, you know what it is, because she's got a lot of updates. So we'll just stick with that. So she is a different character than she was the last time I made one of these videos. So I think it's pretty justified to go ahead and do another one for her. But yeah, Tamamo is a 5-star caster, and she is basically she's not quite on the level of like a Waver or a Merlin or a Scotty, but she does fill the void as a arts support character, at least for the next year or so until we get Artoria caster. But for now, she is going to be the go-to support character for arts units. So as I said, Tamamo is a support character, and in my opinion, she is a really good support character. Maybe not, like I said, as good of a support character as some of the top tier ones, but she falls in right underneath them. She's still a very good support character in her own right, and her first skill is going to have a high chance to decrease one enemy's charge by 1. So right off the bat, this is really not the best skill in the world, with only a percentage-based chance for it to work, to remove 1 charge off of the enemy's level Phantasm gauge, and on a 5-turn charge time. It is in my opinion, it's a really bad skill. Now at level 10, it does get a 100% increase. So you have a 100% chance to get that to go off. So, that eliminates the chance base. But even then, like, having a skill where it only literally does just removing the 1 charge from 1 enemy is really not the best one out there. Now, this is fixed because she does have an upgrade to it, which will, buff up the skill a little bit. So, the first part of the skill stays the same. It has the same percentages for that. Will add an additional effect, which will increase all of your allies' noble Phantasm strength, except herself, for 3 turns. And this will be a 30% increase at level 10. And it really doesn't matter that she doesn't increase her own noble Phantasm strength, because her noble Phantasm doesn't deal any damage. So really no problem there. And you do get a little bit more out of this skill, and it is a pretty nice buff in my opinion. Her second skill is going to be the Morph A, which will increase her own defense for 3 turns, and this will also further increase her own defense by 30% for 1 turn. So a really solid defensive skill, being able to get a massive increase to your defense. So you have 2 30% increases, one of those for 1 turn, one of those for 3 turns. This is on a 5-turn charge time, so a really solid second skill. I do think if they ever do buff up her second skill in the future, then it'll probably change the first part of the effect to increase all of your party members' defense by 30%. I think that might be a direction they go in the future, and her first skill and her third skill have gotten upgrades, so it is entirely possible that her second skill will get one there as well. So we just have to look out for it, but I think that might be a good direction for it to go, and that'll be a really good upgrade if that is the case. And then her third and final skill is going to be the Fox's Wedding EX. This will increase arts card effectiveness for 1 ally for 3 turns. So this will be a 50% increase for arts card effectiveness for one of your allies on a 5-turn charge time. Really, this isn't really that bad of a skill. Honestly, you get a huge increase to arts card effectiveness for that ally. So this is mainly where her arts card support comes into play, and honestly, that's a really, really good thing. And then she does also have an upgrade to her third skill, which will add 1 additional effect, and that is going to recover that ally's HP. So you'll get a 2500 HP heal at level 10, in addition to that 50% increase to arts card effectiveness. So yeah, it's another really good buff to her skill set, and it just makes her that much better of a support character. As far as her passives go, she does have two passives. The first one is the Territory Creation C, which will increase arts card effectiveness by 6%. And then she also does have Divinity A, which will apply damage plus 200. So all in all, I do think that Tamamo has a pretty good set of skills. And unfortunately, like, you do need to have her skills upgraded before they're actually a really good set of skills. But outside of that, you know, it's a really good kit of support skills, and she can do a whole lot of different things. So I will give her 4.5 stars for her skills, and mainly this is just due down to the fact that you have to upgrade her skills, and, you know, until you get to that point in time, she might not be as usable as she would have been if you do have her skills upgraded. So she did lose, you know, half a point there for that. Moving on to her Noble Phantasm, her command card deck, and her command chains. Her command card deck consists of 1 quick, 3 arts, 1 buster. Her hit counts are going to be 3 on the quick, 5 on the arts, 1 on the buster, and 4 on her extra attack. So she has an art center deck, which is normal for most casters and most support units in general. And then she also does have her Noble Phantasm, which is going to be an arts card. So you have plenty of potential there for arts chains, not just with herself, but with other allies as well, to help boost your Noble Phantasm generation and just arts card effectiveness in general. As for her overall chains, for damage, you're going to go Buster, Arts, Arts, Extra. Now, she's a caster, so she's really not going to do that much damage in general, but, you know, that is there if you need to. For Noble Phantasm generation, you're going to use all 3 of her arts cards. Pretty simple right there with her extra attack for a 61% increase to your gauge. And then for critical stars, you're going to have to bring in some help here with a couple of extra quick cards and then her own quick card for 16 critical stars. As far as her Noble Phantasm goes, she is going to reduce the skill cooldown of all of your allies by 1, which is really nice. And then you're also going to restore HP for all of your allies between 1000 and 2000 HP. And then for the overcharge effect, is going to increase Noble Phantasm gauge of all of your allies between 25 and 50%. So this Noble Phantasm is really good. Obviously, the higher level it is and higher overcharge it is, you're going to get more out of it. But still, you know, reducing all skill cooldowns by 1 is huge. Getting the heal, even at base level, 1000 HP is really nice, and 25% increase to the gauge is also really nice. If you combo that in with, you know, pretty much any other Noble Phantasm support character in the game, then you're going to be really well off, and it should be making looping pretty easy. And with pretty much every other skill that Tamamo has, her Noble Phantasm does have an upgrade, and all this is going to do is just increase the overall HP that she will heal with her Noble Phantasm. So she's going to up the overall healing by 1000. So as far as damage goes, as a caster and, you know, a support character who has no attack buffs for the most part, outside of her first skill that has that Noble Phantasm increase, she doesn't really have much as far as damage goes, but that's fine because she really isn't going to be doing damage to the enemy anyway. And if you are in a position where you have to use her for damage, then you're probably not going to win the fight, or if you do, it's going to be a really long battle. But yeah, for damage, she's going to get 2.5 stars. For her critical ability, she is also going to get 2.5 stars here. Basically, she just doesn't have anything for crit ability. She has no effects whatsoever for crit, so I can't really give her anything for it. So 2.5 stars there. And then for her Noble Phantasm, I am going to give her 5 stars there. In my opinion, it's just a really good Noble Phantasm. And yeah, you know, it doesn't do any damage, but it is a support Noble Phantasm, so reducing skill cooldowns by 1 is huge, like really big. That could be like the difference between winning and losing a fight, especially for like an evasion skill that will allow you to be able to evade the enemy's Noble Phantasm, or maybe just be able to fill up your gauge so you can use your Noble Phantasm. 1 turn makes a big difference in this game, and you know, I've lost so many fights where I've had my skill cooldown sitting at 1, and all I needed was just that 1 more turn to win. So having Tamamo Noble Phantasm do that is going to be really big and really clutch in a lot of fights. Then you also get to heal and increase the gauge of all of your allies. So that's just going to be really awesome and really helpful in the long run. For her survivability, she is going to get 4 stars. She does have the 2 heal skills, which is going to be really nice to help keep her alive. and she does have the defense, which is also going to help. But for the most part, you're not going to be using the heal on herself. You're going to be using it on an ally, and that just limits you to the Noble Phantasm heal. The defense is nice, but she doesn't have any hard defense like invincibility or evasion or anything like that to dodge like a Noble Phantasm turn. So it does make it a little difficult to dodge that, but outside of that, she does have some pretty good survivability. As far as support goes, she's getting the full 5 stars. I don't think there's much of a question there. She's a fantastic support character. Even if you're not using her on arts teams, which, I mean, you really should be. But even if you're not, you know, she still does benefit greatly in other situations. You know, she has the universal skill cooldown, reduction, the heal, the Noble Phantasm gauge. Like, all that stuff is universal. It doesn't have to be on an arts team. You're just going to lose out on her 3rd skill if you do use her on other teams. But she still does a really nice job as a support character overall. And that will give her overall ranking at 3.9 out of 5. I do think that this ranking is a little bit low, but given the criteria that I rank characters on, you know, she doesn't do damage and she has no crit ability, so she does lose a lot of points there. But all in all, I do think she is one of the best support characters in the game. She's just a slight tier below Waver and Merlin and Scotty. But she's up there, you know, she's definitely a very viable and usable servant. But for now, that is going to be all for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I do have the links below to my Twitter, Twitch, Patreon, and Discord, so feel free to check those out, and I'll leave you here with Tamamo's Noble Phantasm, and I'll see you guys next time.
出雲の神なり、これ時代にして見とるな。神宝右派の鏡なり。ついて天手なる矢の静石。なき